Hey guys, it's Kaylor. Welcome to the YouTube channel. This is going to be part 1 of Design, Build, Launch. In this episode, we're going to focus on discovering what we want to do with our website and how we want to move forward. And we're also going to get a little bit into our wireframe. Hopefully by the end of this, we can have a full wireframe to go off of in the next video. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's video. So the first thing I want to do is create a list of what I want on my website. So I'm just gonna grab the type tool here in Adobe XD. I just have a normal 1920 by 1080 artboard, and I'm just gonna start typing out some ideas. So first, what do we want to have on this website? Well, I want my disciplines on here, so that's the first thing. So what I do is gonna be probably one of the first sections. And then I want to show some of my projects. How many, I'm not real sure, but I don't want it to be too much to where they have to keep scrolling a lot. So we're just gonna say 5 to 7 projects. Also with this, I might want a link to my Dribbble or Behance to view more work, because I don't want to host every single thing on here. I want them to be able to connect with me on other platforms. So I'm gonna have a link here, I think. The next thing we might want is an about section. So about me. And depending on how long we want to make this website, we might have more sections, but for now I'm gonna put a call to action here. And I want this call to action to actually be part of the footer. I don't even know if I want a footer at all. I don't want anything on the bottom with copyright or anything. I want my links to be on the side of this website. So I think we're just gonna make this the footer section. So I'm gonna put /footer. And in the top, we need some catchy hero section. That way we get people to scroll down and it looks nice when they first load up. So I'm just gonna put hero here. So now that we have a good list of what we want to have on this website, I'm just gonna drag this off to the side and into the pasteboard and just increase the size a little bit so we can see it. So the first thing I wanna do now is I don't wanna work with any elements. I just wanna work with basic shapes to lay out how I want this to look. And to do that, I'm gonna select my artboard and turn on my grid. With my grid on, I like to add a little bit more spacing on the side. So I'm gonna add the margin to 200 pixels instead of 140 by default. So that's just gonna give us some more spacing. And I also wanna change the fill down to a lower opacity just so I can see through this a bit better. At this point, you can create a mood board, but I think I have a good visual direction because I've been thinking about this project for a while. So I think I know what I want to do here. So I'm just gonna start blocking that out. So I'm gonna grab a rectangle and I'm just gonna drag out a rectangle here to about this 3rd column for now, I think. And I think this is what I want to have my navigation inside. And I want all of my information on my main site right here. That way it's kind of shifted over to the right. So it's not centered or aligned perfectly to the left. That way it's a bit unique. And I think that would look pretty cool here. So now that I have this rectangle, I'm just going to select a lighter gray color to fill this. And we'll start to add some more elements. So the first thing we want in our hero section is some type of heading. And I'm gonna make the heading in this project probably pretty large. So I'm gonna grab another rectangle and just drag out a block around there. And I'm going to fill it to this gray color and remove the border. And I like to round the edges on these shapes just because I think it looks a little better. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. I'm gonna touch this to this 4th column and I'll worry about the vertical height in a bit. But for now, I'm gonna hold Alt and drag out a duplicate so we have multiple lines of this heading. And we can just add some variation here to make this look a little bit more realistic. Since a lot of my content is gonna be aligned to the left and the majority of it's gonna be sitting right here, I'm gonna put something over here that's gonna draw the user's eye, such as a call to action link. So I'm gonna have a link here that when you click this, it's gonna scroll all the way down to that call to action we have in our list. So I'm gonna grab one of these rectangles and I'm just gonna make this smaller. And I think I want this to be a text link, so I'm not gonna make it the size of a button or anything. And we're just gonna put that somewhere around there. Across from this, we'll probably have our logo either above this heading or over here with our navigation, which we'll do in a minute. If we stick with the typical thing in web design right now, we'll have all of our content kind of aligned to the left, and then we'll have some kind of image or visual over here. So I'm gonna leave that blank, but we're definitely gonna fill this area. We don't want that to be just pure white. And the last thing I wanna do here is I don't wanna add a button. I don't wanna add a button here since we already have this that's gonna take us down there. So I'm gonna put something down here that's gonna make the user scroll. And to do that, I'm gonna put some text, I think, around here. And it's gonna be an H2 size heading. And when I actually create this in type, I'm gonna leave enough space from the bottom to where it looks like the user can scroll down to view the rest of it, but I don't want it to be like sitting here where there's plenty of space, because to me, I feel like that looks more complete. And if it's sitting down further here, I feel like the user will want to scroll. That's something I'm kind of thinking about right now. So I'm just gonna put that there for now. For our links over here on the side, I'm gonna copy this rectangle, bring it to the front with Command-Shift-Right square bracket key, and I'm gonna make it a darker shade so we can see this. We'll just center align it with our logo and the other link on the side there, and I'm gonna create a few duplicates of this. And we'll see how that's looking. If we do go with all of these sections, we have our hero. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We won't be linking to the hero. So we're gonna need 4 links, I think. So I wanna space these out just a little bit more. So just drag those down to there. So I'm gonna double click on the artboard until I have it selected, and I'm just gonna turn off the layout for now. Let's also hide this for a sec. I think I like this. So from here, I'm just gonna call this wire 1. Feel free to name it what you would like, and I'm gonna hit Command D to duplicate this. So before I go working on the other sections below, now that I have a good idea of the hero section, I'm gonna go ahead and add some type here just so we get some info on the screen. That way the bottom sections will be a little bit easier to create. So let's go ahead and rename this wire 2. And I'm gonna grab the type tool, just type in some junk text. Let's go ahead and start with the heading. So I'm gonna use a plugin called Content Generator. You can go up to plugins up here in the toolbar and install that. And I'm gonna give this a title, and we'll scale this up a bit. Make sure it's aligned to the left, and we'll just put it somewhere around there. Let's actually turn our layout back on, and then I'm gonna delete the rectangle behind that and just align that to that column for now. I'm gonna copy that text and create some more. So just plugins, content generator, and title. And then let's make this like that or so. That looks pretty good. So we got some junk text in there as a placeholder for now, and just drag that down a bit there. And let's do an H2 down here at the bottom to see how that looks. So we'll just make sure that's single line, plugins, content generator, whoops, plugins, content generator, and we'll give that a title. And we'll just scale this in, make it a bit smaller. And here, like I was saying before, I don't want this to be somewhere like that, because that looks like it belongs here and it's fine. But if I put it down somewhere like that, where it's kind of really close to that fold, I think it entices the user to scroll down. That's kind of my thought behind that. So we're gonna keep that for now. We might change that later. And then I want a logo at the top. So we'll just scale that into about the size of an H3, remove that. And I think I want the navigation to be a little bit further from the top there. So we'll just go ahead and remove all these since we know what we're doing. And again, I'm just holding Alt as I drag on these to create duplicates. I'm gonna align this one to the right, and we'll go down to a paragraph size there. Align this one to the left. Let's go ahead and repeat grid on that, and we'll drag out 3 of those and then increase the spacing this way. Actually, I meant 4, sorry. Go like that. And then I will Command-Shift-G to ungroup those. With those selected, I'm gonna generate some titles for those so that we have some variation. Actually looks pretty good. And now that we have that, we can just delete that and see what we have here. This looks okay. It's looking a little busy here, and I think it's because these are too large. Yeah, they're 26. So I'm just going to hold Shift as I scale that down to a more reasonable size. Let's go with 17. And then we'll need to recenter this to our logo, if I can get it. Just gonna try to make the spacing consistent. We had 45 it looked like, so we'll do that. And these are 17, so we'll scale this down to 17 as well. All right, so let's select the artboard and turn off the layout. So you can see that we have wire 1, just basic shapes, and then wire 2 here, we have a little bit of type so we can get kind of the feel of how this is gonna look. And now we're ready to continue on with the rest of our sections. So next up on the list, we have the what I do. So this heading right here will be something that revolves around that. And what I like to do when I expand this, instead of just dragging down, I like to go up here to the height and just multiply that by 2. And since we have to keep turning on and off this layout, I'm just gonna drag out a guide to the important sections like this one right here where all of our content is gonna be aligned to. And I don't think we're gonna need one here on the side. So I think that's good for now. So we'll just turn back off the layout. And I'm gonna grab the logo text. And let's put some spacing below this heading. And this might be one of our disciplines. So like user interface design or something. And then beside that, we'll have a paragraph. So I'm going to change that to a text area and just drag it out. And then plugins and generate some paragraph text. So from this column right here, I'm going to put a 1 column gap to this one. No matter the length of this, we're just going to have it aligned on this 3rd column from this one. So I think that'll look okay. And we're not going to need this much text, so we'll remove that. And then we do need to increase the line height. So let's do about 140%. So 20 times 1.4. And that trick is in one of my latest UX tips typography video. I'll link that on the screen now if you haven't seen that already about line height. So I'm going to drag this text area up, and then let's grab that and repeat grid and drag down. How many do we want? Let's do 3 for now. And then we'll expand this to a larger space, somewhere around 80, and Command-Shift-G to ungroup that repeat grid. Let's also go ahead and grab these paragraphs and change the content. All right, so we got some different text. I think this is actually generated the same one. That's kind of rare. Haven't seen that happen before. So I'll do that one again. There we go. And then we'll do the titles. And that isn't completely necessary what I'm doing. I'm just doing that so it breaks it up so I can see a little bit of what this will look like in a better real life example. If you have it the same, it looks a little funky to me. So I like to change all of this. And I'm not liking the width of this. I'm not sure how many characters this is long, but I definitely don't want it to be too long. So I'm going to drag that into, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. And that looks pretty good. And we didn't use a lot of this white space down here. So I'm just going to drag down visually this time. And we'll move on to our next section. I'm going to grab this heading and hold Alt. And we'll decide the spacing in between sections later. But I definitely know I don't want this to be the same size. What are we using up here? Around 30. So we'll just use that. And align that to that side right there. And in here, I want some projects. So I'm gonna go with a rectangle and just drag this out. And I want this to be more of a vertical card than a horizontal shape card. So we'll go with that. And we'll drag out another one. Need some more space here. I'm gonna grab that fill color over there and just apply that to these rectangles. Duplicate this a few times. Nothing too fancy there. And down here, I think we're gonna remove that so we have an odd number. And I'm gonna copy this paragraph and put it over here. And what space do we have here? 53, that works. So we'll just align this kind of, if we're drawing a horizontal line to the center of this card, it's somewhere around there. So I'm just gonna go a little bit above that. So if it was sitting like right there, I want it to be somewhere around there. And I'm going to drag this in a bit to 3.5 columns-ish. We'll have that as a paragraph, and then I want a link below that. So to make sure we know this is a link, I'm going to underline that for now. And I'm going to hold Alt and drag out a duplicate and drag that down to that paragraph. And we'll put that just below it there. Okay, so I think that will work for our work section. So we have our disciplines, our work, we have that link I talked about, and what is next? About me, okay? So let's grab that heading we're using here, hold Alt and create a duplicate, and we'll just match the spacing that we're using up there. That works. And I think I want to copy what we have here. So we have the heading on the left side, and then on the right we have the info. I think that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to drag out a duplicate down here at the bottom and align that to the top of this text so that they line up like that. And then here I want multiple paragraphs. So we actually have some extra text in there. So I'll just drag this down, and then we'll change the paragraph spacing to 28 to match the line height. And we'll make sure we have another paragraph. So I'll hit enter there, enter. And we have 2 paragraphs. We might put more paragraphs there, but that's a good start. And then lastly, I want a call to action. So I'm going to drag this down a little bit more. And for my call to action, I want this to be the full height of the viewport. So I'm going to drag out a block with this rectangle and make sure it is 1080. And I'm going to put this, I think we had 270 spacing between our sections, so we'll put that around there. Then we'll just copy that and paste the appearance there. And then we need 270, so I'll take the height minus 270 to put that right to the bottom. So now our artboard fits perfectly for our content there. And so this doesn't get in our way, I'm gonna hit Command L to lock this layer so that we can't edit it at all. And let's grab a heading. I think I want this the same size as what we're using throughout, so I'm just gonna grab this one. Command Shift, right square bracket key to bring it to the front. And I want quite a bit of text here, so I'm gonna grab this paragraph, just copy a bit of that and paste it in. Change that to a text area. And we'll worry about the width later, but I just want multiple lines here. And the line height, let's set that to 30 times 1.5, and that's too much. It's a heading, so let's go lower than that. Let's go 1.2 times 1.2 for 120%. Might need to go to 130, but for now I will leave that. And below that we want a link. Command Shift, right square bracket key to bring that to the front. We'll just stick that below there. Again, all of our spacings are off. That's not a big deal. We'll worry about all that later. We just want to get the content on the screen here. So this is going to be our email link where they're going to contact us. And then on the side here, I want this navigation to do something kind of cool. So I think I'm going to have these links sticky since they're going to be linking to different sections and they're going to scroll to each one. I want those to be sticky. So when they scroll down to this section, they're going to meet up with links here. And so it's going to make a complete footer instead of repeating these links. So if you know typical footers where they have multiple categories of links here, I want this to make that, but on this left-hand side. So I'm going to put these a little bit lower. And to do that, we're going to need a heading. And I'm going to change that. And I know these are going to be social, so I'm actually going to put that text in. And we'll just stick that there, move it down a little bit. And I'm going to content generate on those. And the last thing I want to do is fill out some of the space down here with some more services. So up here, we're going to talk about maybe consulting, I think. So down here at the bottom, I want a way of getting in touch for consulting specifically, and maybe another thing here. So to do that, I'm just going to grab the card that we're using here. Hold Alt and create a duplicate, Command Shift, right square bracket key to bring that to the front. And we're gonna need a darker gray, so I'm gonna grab one we're using over here. So I'm gonna copy that and then go down to the bottom and paste that appearance. And then I'm gonna remove that border radius. We'll scale this in holding Shift, and 2 columns wide will look good. So we're gonna put that somewhere around there, and maybe we create a duplicate. And I don't know what we're gonna have on there for now, but we'll just have those as a good placeholder. And I'm gonna drag all that up a little bit probably. I think that looks good. So to kind of test out what I want here, I'm gonna grab these links and I'm gonna go to the prototype tab and just fix their position. Select this wire and hit the live preview. So when we scroll down through our content, this is going to stick. And then when we get to the bottom, we're gonna want that to slide in here. So I need to change that. So let's bring these to the front. Command Shift right square bracket key will bring them all the way to the front, and we'll test that one more time. Perfect. Might need to bring those up. That's a little bit too large of a gap, but you kind of get the idea here. So I think that's what we're gonna go with. That's kind of cool. And let me focus on looking at this. So we got our heading here. This is gonna take us down all the way to the bottom, our logo. And this looks like we need to scroll down. So we scroll down, we get some disciplines. Here's some of our works. They've became interested, so they're gonna click here to go view more of those and connect with us on our other social media. That's good. Here's some more about us. And then we have our call to action with our special services here that they can get in touch. So I think that looks pretty good. So I think this is a good starting point for our wireframe. The next thing I'll want to do here before we go into color and adding images is I want to refine the spacing, the typography, and add some of our type in here. Before we do that though, we've completed all of our ideas over here. I have them in a good order. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. And to recap, we've created some basic shapes to get our layout visually on the screen so we can start working with something. And then we have some basic idea of what we want to do here with this. So I think this is going to be the stopping point for this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed episode 1. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more design related content. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure you have that notification bell on so you don't miss a video. I'll see you guys in episode 2. So as always, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.